Elio, you earlier just now said you've because I'm sure you've noticed this too. People starting to get angry with George, mostly because he's not done with wins. And whenever me,
That goes not just started. People, it's been quite a while that people have been angry at George. It's been
you
gone
know
back quite
what,
a while. That
I
for
haven't
when
seen it to this level. Like Preston and I have been uploading for the
no,
last 10 years.
I would say that's true.
And like the several subreddits in like the last, I would say, 24 months went from like, like, yeah, we're talking about the show, we're talking about this, yeah, the books, and then all of a sudden to just like every time anything he does, they just start hating him immediately. And of course, I've tweeted out how frustrated I am. Like, there was a rumor that George might be involved with like a Maisie Williams Arya spinoff. Like, dude, really? Like, shit or get off the pot. Come on. But just because I'm frustrated with him not really making much progress doesn't mean I hate the guy. And I want to call back to an interview you did last year, which I thought was very important, and it's something I've echoed consistently throughout this entire year. And your interview with this other YouTuber was basically you saying, because of course he asked about where's Wins and why is it taking so long? And there's a lot of theories out there that, well, maybe George is rewriting it because of season 8, or maybe and this one is really weird, maybe he wrote Wins, is finishing Dream, and he's just gonna shadow release it when he dies, so he doesn't worry about the reception. That one is the weirdest, douchiest one I've heard, but I've seen it echo so many times. My question to you is this. Last time you said that George was trying to put himself in a position where after he finishes Wins, Dream is the only books left. Do you still think that's true?
I believe that's true. I am fairly certain that when I had lunch with George last year during the Worldcon, he seemed committed to sticking to 7 books. So I think he has never said in so many words to me that I have to make sure, but my impression, both from what he has said there and in other occasions, is he really wants it to be 7 and he doesn't want it to be more, but that means he's got to cover a lot of ground and getting everything fitted in the right way to make it make sense to him. And then combined with that is he's become, and he said this, he's become in public, I think, in some interviews, he's more of a perfectionist now than he was. Like when you read, there are uh, there are aspects in Game of Thrones, like just on a certain level, where you can see what he means. Like I could have probably made a nicer turn of phrase here or there. This is a little clunky. I think he cares more and he fights more over these things than he used to. It's like I don't know. I don't know if he's at the Oscar Wilde level where, I spent all day putting in a coma and then the rest of the evening taking it back out. Like, I don't think he's at that level, but I think he's definitely, we know with Feast for Crows, and A Dance with Dragons, there's a lot of stuff that he kind of just dropped and rewrote and tried to get it just right. So I think that's a big part of it. I think he wants book 7, he wants it to be 7 books, and he's struggling to get there. That's my view of it. Whether he will at some point just throw his hands up and say, fine, I'll just, I don't know. But I will say the idea, like, it's absolutely not true, obviously, but he has finished The Winds of Winter, and he's working on the last book, and he'll release them. That's not happening. Honestly, if a decade ago I and others, maybe some people around him, kind of knew that he would still be struggling this way to try and get it. I think what I would have said back then, and I would say now to him if he is like, "Well, George, why don't you just write the rest of the story?" And that way, the thing that keeps stopping you, which is, oh, what if I end up coming with a better idea and I need to, and I'm stuck. I'm trapped because I can't go back because I published that book. I published The Winds of Winter. Now I can't go fix something that has messed things up. I mean, um, the writer of the Outlander series. I mean, she mentioned, like, she claims that George told her, have you ever felt like he ended up in a position where, I think he asked her, like, have you ever killed off a character and you realize that you really needed them? So that's part of the process where he's realized I kind of trapped myself a little bit. Not necessarily a trap where I can't get out of, but like I closed off some paths I could have used to get out of this situation, and now I have to explore this other path. And maybe it's not as fruitful, it's more complicated, it's more difficult. So,
My
I
guess it's Kevin. My guess it's Kevin that he killed and he didn't know what to do once he was dead.
yeah. So imagine if someone had told him if Brandon House said, "Hey George, why don't you just write the rest of the series and take a 20-year break, and after that you're done, and because then you can fiddle and fix everything as you go." On the other hand, I can see the downside of this is that besides people being upset that he's just going to write the rest of it before he publishes it, is there's always a chance that even there, he gets hit by a bus, he gets struck by lightning, it doesn't come out, or he never manages to, it's like Tolkien fiddling around with the Silmarillion for the rest of his days and never managing to be happy with it. Um, so I could see the other side is because he's become more perfectionist. He might in that scenario just never finish for the same reason. Like he'd never be happy with it. He could never convince him. But to the
You,
actual
you
question,
you are right that like the later books, like Tyrion is more clever than he is in the early books, and more of the characters and plot lines George feels like he needs to wrap up. So he like brings back characters that you'd forgotten about,
yeah,
and he's definitely more perfectionist in A Feast for Crows and Dance with Dragons. There's fewer errors just in general. Like
yeah,
there's fewer linguistic errors, there's fewer plot point errors. Like they're even though they're longer and some people would argue more meandering books, they're tighter.
yeah.
They have more beautiful language. They have more consistent plots. Yeah, they have more
In your
characters. Yeah.
also in that interview that you did, the guy even asked you. I'm kind of glad he asked you this, so we don't have to ask you. But like, he said something along the lines of, well, what if certain things happen that are very tragic, in a nice way of saying. You replied to him that winds will come out one way or another, regardless of what happens. What do you mean by that? Like, do you really think that if something did
Well, this
happen?
is my speculation. Just that
Mhm.
yeah. This is, I don't remember my exact wording, but I'll take it as given. But more or less what it was said. I think what I meant there is I don't think that George will not finish The Winds of Winter. I think that book will come out. But if something would happen, I think he has enough of it that I think he would probably have been fine with even a release of what he had. Like Random House could edit it. They could come up with something. They could have Anne Grohl, who's worked with him the entire time he's written the series, write and material to help bridge some gaps of her knowledge. I was not suggesting anyone else is going to be writing it for him. That's not no ghostwriter. George was so upset when Roger Zelazny's ex-wife got the rights and basically got some John Betancourt, I think, to write sequels to his Amber books. Which like George really would not want that to happen. But I do think that he's been with Winds of Winter so long that I think he would feel that, and the fans have been waiting for it so long, and I think he would feel that they deserve to see what he had.